Hey traders, what's going on? Just going to do a quick trade review video. I took 3 trades this week, one on USDCAD, one on silver, and one on oil. There's 2 winners and 1 break even. And I'm just going to be going over those trades that I took this week and, explaining my top-down analysis and what was going on when I took the trade. And, I know I haven't posted a video in a while, but it's, I've been really putting in the time into the charts and kind of paying attention to more detail and like looking at more things and kind of trying to figure everything out. So I've been putting in a lot of work into the charts. So I apologize for not making a video recently, but hopefully this one will make up for it. So first of all, if you look at my 4 chart layout, I noticed that we are coming into a tested monthly demand zone. It's not the best demand zone, but the only reason I really drew it is because clearly this is, it's an engulfing candle, had a decent push up, and clearly it was getting held by this supply right here and pushed out. So I would never take this zone as like a full trade, like if this was on a small time frame, just because, it's not like this where it's a nice move out, right? Like it just, I drew it because you can clearly tell that buyers were stepping up here. So I was basically looking for a reaction off of that. And then another thing I noticed too was this weekly the weekly was sideways. I would have liked to see it break this supply zone right here. It didn't. It kind of just broke this trend line that's been on for quite a bit. So I noticed it's starting to react off of the weekly as well. So I'm like, what, I think this weekly might hold for for at least a little bit of a move. And then I noticed the daily was just broke this supply, but was reacting good off this demand. And I took this trade here on the 4 hour. I just noticed that the demand was holding, so I said, I'm gonna try some more trades. Oh wait, this was not it. What am I doing? This is a daily. My bad. So what I noticed was we were coming into that daily again. It made a newer low underneath this low here, when it was coming into that zone. I noticed we had a nice trend down. You could draw another trend line like that. So then I kind of just went in. Saw price was reacting, and I also noticed that price removed this supply zone right here. Pretty nicely too. It was a very nice break. I like that break. It pushed right through. And clearly this was supply. As you see, it came up. Clearly there's some supply in this area right here. So I figured, it was a good indication that this zone was now broken. So then I found this little zone. I know it's not the most common zone that you'd see, especially from most supply and demand traders, but I liked it. It's a nice 50% candle. It was kind of the origin of this move, and I thought, I don't need to have my risk. Obviously, you could have drawn it like this as well, and, clearly would have worked just as good. And it still would have been like a nice 2-to-1 move, but I did make a 2-to-1 on this trade overall. Clearly, it moved more than 2-to-1. I've just been experimenting with different types of take profits and stuff. So yeah, so I noticed it removed this trend line, pushed above here. Nice arrival back in. I got filled right here, came down, thought I was gonna get stopped out, and clearly not. I have my stop loss right here underneath that zone perfectly. And as you can see, it held up really good, and then price pushed back up to here at the end of the day today on Friday, and I just took my profits, all of them. And the reason I did is because we're coming up to this weekly supply area again. That it's I'm not saying this is gonna hold, but as you can see, that these tested zones, they work multiple times sometimes, right? So I'm just kind of taking a more cautious approach, and it's just a more cautious thing to do, especially when we're coming up to a weekly demand. That's why I started managing my stop loss tight, and I just didn't really want to hold it over the weekend, and especially it being right at a supply zone. So that's USD CAD, and then I'll go to oil next, because the USD CAD is connected to oil. So when oil goes down, USD CAD would essentially go up, because that would be bearish for the US or the Canadian dollar. So this is a bad trade, and I'll tell you why right now. Oil has been pushing up. We're reacting off of this. This is, a lot of people wouldn't draw that as a supply zone, but I would, especially after all the time I've been putting in the charts. this type of candle. I forget the name of that candle, but I've seen them work so many times. And we're also reacting off of, and if you really zoom in on the weekly, you know, it's another 50% candle, and it clearly held up price here, and I bought, which was pretty dumb of me to do. But you know, I learned from my mistake. I'm now learning to really pay attention to that. So what I noticed here was this zone. I don't know if you remember. I think I posted this. I took this trade here on the 4 hour. Got I think a 2-to-1 or something like that on that oil trade. And I noticed price was clearly, it was being held up here. Like, it's pretty obvious, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times it reacted off of that. And then I saw price was trending down. I noticed we broke the zone, but I noticed this little demand zone here. And it was kind of the origin of this big move, right? Like, that's, you could draw this as well. But I've just been noticing different things. That one wouldn't have worked either, but clearly because we've been reacting off of a higher time frame supply zone, so I shouldn't be buying. So that was my mistake. And I noticed it was kind of the origin of this break as well. So I thought it was a decent zone, and clearly it worked. And I got out. I forget what I did. I think I did, or 1-to-1. What I did was at 1-to-1, I took 50% off of my trade, and then I kept my stop loss under here to have a good, to keep my stop loss here, because sometimes, you know, what you'll see is price will react like it did, or let me draw in a different zone. Price will come up right here, it'll take off, you'll take some profit off at like 1-to-1 or whatever your rules are. You'll move your stop loss to break even, and you know your stop loss break even is like right here, right? And you'll get tagged out when price goes off without you. So what I am trying to do now is like take some off at 1-to-1, 2-to-1, maybe keep my stop loss there so that it can be just break even. So I didn't lose any money on that, and you know that would have been a loss if I didn't do that. So I like that I did that, and I think I did a good job. Okay, so silver, I noticed that, you know, it did break this monthly supply, but clearly we're reacting off some supply. Price is very overextended. The weekly momentum did make a shift. It didn't fully break this trend line, but it did remove this demand, which clearly, and if sometimes I'm like, is that really good demand? Is that really demand? What I look for is these wicks into the zone, and can see that price is picking up here. So I'm like, that I would qualify that as demand, and clearly this supply is in control right now on the weekly. So I thought, you know, I shouldn't be trying to buy, especially since we're kind of seeing a shift. So, and then I looked at the daily here, and price was, let me see, I forget which zone I took. What the hell? Was it up here? Sorry, guys. I don't know what zone I took. Oh my god. I'll have to pull it up in the Discord group. Sorry, guys. That's hilarious. I literally cannot remember the zone that I took. How come I can't? I posted it in the group. We'll pull that up. That's my bad, guys. Holy shit. Yeah, it was a short. I just can't find the zone. And the reason I can't find the zone is because I'm so used to taking these zones at, like, you know, the extreme or like, you know, this kind of zone, right? Here we go. TradingView. So yeah, I posted my USDCAD. It was right here. Yeah, guys, I remember it was a tight little zone. So there. So that it was before that big drop. Let me see. Oh. So we had a trend line. Oh no, we didn't have that trend line. Right there. I see it now. So it's right here. Like this. Yeah. So that's my bad, guys. That's pretty embarrassing. I can't remember that. And I remember why I'm not remembering it now, because it was kind of like a tight little zone that's hard to see because we had a small retracement back. It's not like this huge downtrend zone, right? So what I noticed was that this demand was holding up price. It broke down. This demand was holding it up, but I figured it was already tested here, and I thought, you know what, it might be a decent trade. I looked at the daily. We just reacted off of this supply zone. It was trending down. This was broken right here, so we had nothing really to stop it down to here, and clearly the zone worked, but I thought there was some profit and margin in there for me on the 4 hour. So right up here is like your daily zone right here. I don't know how it's going to look in the daily, but if I go to the daily right now, you'll see I probably drew it pretty decently. Yeah, so it's like right there like that, and then price clearly reacted off it. I missed the trade up there, and then I noticed some more supplies being taken out, and this zone, this is what I saw. It's kind of hard to see the zone without it like looking at it how I was looking at it, but it was like this, and right there I'm like, you know what, I like that zone. We're clearly, if you draw a different, or never mind, if you draw a trend line like this, it is in line with the trend if price comes up right now. What I did not want to see was this right here. I did not want to see price come down and then come back up like this, because then it would kind of be, at that point, it could be like counter trying to break these trend lines, right? So I didn't really, so I was totally willing to take my order out, but I noticed this here. I saw some profit margin down to this next daily level, and I got filled right there like that. And I remember like immediately, I had like a 1-to-1, 50% take off. Like at 1-to-1, I was taking 50% off, and I remember, or it was a little less than 1-to-1. But what happened in this wick right here, this wick actually came up, tagged me in, tagged my 1-to-1, and then literally shot right back up. So I was at like break even throughout all of this. And look at that. That's a great example of why I do that now, is because my stop loss was still protected under here. If my stop loss would have been right here, I would have been tagged out and I wouldn't have made any money on this. But it was a good thing I did, because, you know, look at that. Look at that move. Just like the USDCAD pretty much. And then I took my final profits down here, but all 2-to-1 trades. On on oil, or on silver, sorry, this was more than a 2-to-1 for me. I think it was like a 2.5 to 3-to-1, somewhere in between there, I think. But yeah, it was a nice trade. Sorry it took me so long to find it. I don't know why I didn't, but yeah, my final take profit was like around here. I should have taken profits down here. I was pretty busy today, so I wasn't really paying attention. That's my bad, but you know, I held it. I don't want to hold it over the weekend, especially. You know, I don't know if things are going to get crazy for this election time or something like that. I'm not really quite too sure, so I'm just keeping it very, very conservative right now, and I'm doing pretty well. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Hope you guys made it this far. Let me know what you think, and once again, I'm really sorry about the silver. I could not being able to find that silver trade. As you can see right now, I'll pull it out. You know, like, where is it? It's not this big zone. It was kind of hard to see. So I apologize for that, and hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the Sunday Forex forecast. Cheers.